I'm at a low dark point. My husband, who is Catholic and believes but doesn't pray, has a hard time pray or has a hard time with it in his life due to many factors. Has fell in love with another woman online who was there for him and understood him. I have tried to find anyone in this situation. I'm not sure they are out there, but I can't find anyone, and I would really like to connect with other women who have found themselves in this, and both the husband and wife are staying together. We're getting along just fine like roommates. I'm also unsure if I should ask about if he wants to better our marriage or not. I know that it would probably have to be under the stipulation that him and his girlfriend are not dating any longer and decide to be friends, at least for the time being. Of course, they'd have to, moving forward, end the relationship completely. But I also know this won't fully be better until he makes his life right with God. So practically, I just don't have the tools in my belt to know what is right to do.
Yeah, well, I don't think he can make his life right with God and then get the woman out of the picture. I think the woman's got to get out of the picture in order for him to have his life right with God. And so the idea that they need to stop being girlfriend, boyfriend, and just be friends, it can't. Friendship isn't even on the table, in my opinion, here. Now, just to go through, though, let's start at the beginning. You're looking for a community of women, or just any woman who's been through what you've been through. You're sure they're out there. They are out there. The challenge is it's such a personal struggle that a lot of people just kind of keep it to themselves that they're going through this in their marriage. So the solution to that isn't to like, just, hey, have you been through this? You've been through this? Try to get plugged into a good faith community of women, preferably at your parish. Maybe there's a woman's Bible study, get to know some good friends, and then you could begin to open up your heart. And odds are you're going to find like, yeah, a lot of couples have been through this. I know in my relationship with Kristalina, there are moments where I felt like, hey, I feel like guys getting a little close. Or she's saying, yeah, I feel that girl's getting a little too close to you. And we've had to have those discussions. And then you create more space. Obviously, if there's an emotional affair going on, you can't just scale back and just be friends. And so you had mentioned at the beginning, he was kind of at a low point in his marriage and he met somebody online that kind of understood that what he was going through. And so maybe there was a legitimate ache or need that he had for connection and understanding and empathy and compassion and kindness, but he was going to an illegitimate source in order to satisfy that ache, when in reality, that's what the wife should be doing. And so just because the wife, let's presume, is not doing that, and maybe you guys were going through a rough patch, it doesn't mean that he could just go run elsewhere to satisfy that. Likewise, if he's not the optimal husband to you, it doesn't mean you can have marathon phone calls with other guys to vent through your issues as well. And so I would say don't consider friendship with this woman as an alternative, as to boyfriend, girlfriend. It's got to be kind of a hard line in sand. Like, she's got to go. Like, you got to take your pick. Like, you can have her or you can have me, but you can't have me on the sidelines. It's just not going to work. Is he willing to work on his marriage? Well, you got to ask him that. Because talk is cheap. Ask him, hey, I find him, I love you, honey. And we promise to love each other our entire lives. And we've always obviously been having a rough patch here going on. I'm committed to going to marital counseling to work through this, because I don't believe that we're really working through it. We're just existing as roommates. I mean, we're getting along, but this isn't what we envisioned when we stood on the altar, when you proposed to me. This is not where we thought we'd be this many years into marriage. Let's fight for this, because storms are going to come in marriage, and the ones that last. I heard a priest say recently, you know what perfect love is? He said, perfect love is two imperfect people choosing to continually love one another. And so the question is, yeah, we're imperfect. You are, he is, I am, my wife is, but are we choosing to move forward? And so the step I would take, try to find a good marriage counselor. If you go to websites like catholictherapists.com, type in your zip code, see who's around you. And if he's unwilling to go with you, then I want you to go without him. I want you to get a good sounding board where you can bounce these ideas off of a good Catholic therapist of like, what's going on here? How long do I have to wait for this guy to show up to what he promised on the altar 10 years ago? But I think it's very important that your husband understand what he stands to lose. Like, look, you can't just keep me on the sidelines and then go to this other woman for emotional satisfaction. Like, if you really want to heal our marriage, she's got to be gone. Not like we're not going on dates, we're not FaceTiming or whatever, like, no, gone, like zero contact. To me, there is no other option. There was a book written by Sarah Swafford and her husband, Andrew Swafford, called and Grit, where they talk about emotional affairs before marriage, inside marriage. I'd recommend get a copy of that book. Read through it because I think it's going to validate your hurts of just like, now it's really cutting me to the core that he's turning to another woman for satisfaction. And he might be saying, well, like, look, there's this big ache in my life I have for companion and friend and respect and intimacy. And because of whatever reason, like maybe you're not fulfilling that, so I need to go get it elsewhere. Instead of just shutting it down, try to listen in the sense of like, okay, are there some legitimate needs that he really has that I haven't been giving to him because I'm bitter towards him, towards this or that? And maybe he has some legitimate things that he should be providing for you as a husband that he's not providing. Sometimes being in the presence of a good marriage counselor can help referee some of that stuff, where you can, bounce it off of them, and he can make your husband feel heard, and he can help your husband to listen to you when maybe he feels like you're just coming at him, that you can come to him with this issue instead of him just giving you a solution. He can actually practice some empathy himself and see where you're coming from and see how much this has hurt you by how he's turned to another person. How he can hopefully forgive instead of just deflecting and denying and gaslighting and be like, well, it's not like we're actually sleeping together, just trying to minimize everything. Because fidelity is a lot more than your body parts. Fidelity is your heart, your imagination, your eyes. And if one spouse or the other falls in that area, the other, I think, has a right, a duty, and a responsibility to bring it to the other's attention. So hopefully they can heal and work on this together as a team. But yeah, find a good counselor, marriage counselor. Hopefully he's willing to go with you. But in the event he's not, please still go yourself, because this storm that you guys are having to weather right now, I hope and I pray that you'll be able to get through this. This is not, I think, an irretrievable marriage. Who knows why it is he felt the need to go run in that direction. But hopefully you guys can be a team. Take a look at those deep hurts, acknowledge maybe where you've hurt him, and hopefully he can reciprocate and acknowledge where he's hurt you, and you guys can continue to fight. Like I said, the perfect marriage isn't two perfect people or perfect love. It's two imperfect people who continue to choose to love one another. Hey, if you enjoyed that clip, I'd encourage you to please like, subscribe, share, comment. That helps show it to more people. And then also submit your question at the email live@chastity.com, or submit your question or call in through our Discord server so we can talk to you in person on our next show.